Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Masters Bangkok is just around the corner, but roster drama is hitting the timeline as of last night, with NRG supposedly making their major changes. Bangkok gone, Verno gone a couple of days ago. They apparently have their fifth player in mind and potentially will be signed very shortly indeed. But also roster drama at LEV Rossy. After a questionable performance at the kickoff, they apparently are making roster changes, and controversial ones at that. Rossy may be the man that they are going for, taking him away from NRG as a possibility. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. I wanted to start here just with the grand finals of the, China Evolution Series. So yesterday, BLG did get the 3-0 victory against Gen.G in the final, so they secured the consolation prize. And the grand finals right now is Nova Esports up 2-0 on Wolves. And, it's about to be 3-0, isn't it? Let's be honest here. Now, this has been an absolute crushing performance here, because going into this series, as you guys can see, the pre-match odds were pretty much 50-50, but Nova Esports have just absolutely battered them every single map. 13-2, 13-5 on the split, and then 13, it's 11-2 for now. Wolves just won the pistol, so, maybe they're bringing the comeback, right? Like, if Wolves somehow won this series, it would be the greatest reverse sweep in the history of Valorant, but that's not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest. So, yeah, that's the grand finals over there that seemingly is about to conclude. Just to quickly mention as well, so Challenges 2025 North America, couple of games upcoming on the 17th, so yeah, tomorrow these get underway. Blue Otter play YFP, for example, and just thought it was notable because Blue Otter sitting at 2-1. Of course, these top 8 teams qualify to the playoffs relatively soon. Rankers are locked up. Pretty sure it's going to be the number 1 seed for them, almost guaranteed. But speaking of Blue Otter, right, one of their players, Bob, of course, who used to be in a Game Changers, was playing yesterday for FlyQuest Red. So it's interesting that Bob is playing both leagues for now. So playing in Game Changers and then also playing it in Challengers, right? Obviously, we know what happens with Fluorescence, getting signed onto Apex and making that jump and playing very well for them in the VCT, at least what we saw at the kickoff so far. Is Bob going to make a similar run here, right? On the Tejo, on the Rays, and had a dominant performance here on the Haven. Well, it wasn't actually so much the Haven, it was mostly the Fracture, because yeah, I mean, this is a pretty insane map. 13-11 on the Fracture and Bob drops 40. Like, what are we talking about here? 96% cast, 461 ACS. And then the final map was the Bind as well, and Bob drops 29 again. So, kind of smurfing down there, it feels like, again. But the team is flying out to Masters Bangkok as of yesterday. Here are the G2 guys. The Americas champs are Bangkok bound. Of course, they've got the team. LEV always looks hilarious in these pictures. I always look forward to these. Jorgo is pretty funny as well, actually. Not many smiles. Valin smiling, Trent smiling. The other guys are just locked in, I guess, going over there to Bangkok. So, yeah, as I said, bit of a trek to get out there. Easier for the teams out of Europe, as we discussed yesterday. But as Durga says, forget about teleportation. My flight has been delayed for 2 hours. I'm so cursed. Boasted then says, see ya. And Durga says, cheers, Jake. Here he is on the flight with his complimentary, I don't know, first class glass of orange juice or apple juice, whatever, I don't know. So I'm hoping he's having a good time. And as he says, he got there, of course, eventually. I stepped out from the airplane and my finish arts already feels like I got out from a sauna. So, yeah, it's obviously pretty toasty out there in Bangkok. It's humid out there. It's not always, the hottest time of the year right now, but it's still rather warm and, yeah, definitely pretty sweaty. Is it what Seoul was? As he says, no, that was an oven, so not even that bad. And looks like Zekken is out there as well. So, yeah, they've rocked up, and as we see here, Zekken says VCT Masters Bangkok 0020, so that's his account that he's going to be practicing on and everything for the tournament. So, yeah, Sentinels are there, G2 are there, Vitality have seemingly made it there as well. Only a few days, of course, for them to get some of the jet lag out of the system to get well practiced and settled in for the tournament in just a few days' time. TSM, just a quick update on them. Subrosa has parted ways. Of course, player, content creator, they've decided that they're going to, part ways, basically wish you the best in the next chapter, all that stuff. So Subrosa mentions a similar thing. But let's talk about some roster drama, because lots has happened over the last few days, mainly on NRG. The interesting thing about this NRG situation is that the team has not said anything on this officially yet, and neither have any of the players, which is pretty rare when a rumour of this calibre hits the timeline, right? I mean, it was Tanmay who said on the 11th of February that Verno has been benched and Bonkar's gone as well. Usually you'd see something from one of the players hinting at something going on or whatever, and FNS did, I guess, do a tweet to kind of say, oh, well, all of these experts telling me what's happening going on the timeline and all this, so fair enough. But then there were rumours that Bangkok was getting linked to Fnatic, and even though Fnatic, it seems, are going in a different direction with their coaching staff after getting rid of Elmer Putty, it was seemingly confirmed by most parties that Bangkok was at least having a chat with those guys, which seems to imply he is not long on NRG any longer. So Verno being gone, we discussed it at length, of course, the other day. Verno didn't have a great kickoff. Doesn't, to me, seem like a personality that would mesh particularly well in the longer term with the likes of an FNS if the results don't deliver. You know, as many people have said in many sports and esports, if a player is a bit problematic to team with, but they're very, very talented and they're winning you games, you can put up with it. If you stop winning, then it becomes a bit of a problem, right? So that's what I think happens, but intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. The big update from yesterday is that according to some rumours going around, Brawk is going to be the man. Now, this isn't coming out of especially solid sources yet, so, you know, we've got to hold off on this analysis. The stronger sources are discussing the Leviathan stuff in a second. But there was a bit of talk about this the other day. NRG need a replacement. Is Brawk the man to get? Possibly. It's plausible. I know there was lots of talk as well about Rossy and, you know, whether Rossy was going to get linked to the team, but it seems like he's getting linked elsewhere. So potentially minus Verno plus Brawk. We'll see if that actually happens, because NRG for now have said absolutely nothing on the matter. But some of the stronger discussions last night were around a couple of different teams, and supposedly there could be an agreement such as this. Now, who knows if this is actually going to happen? Does it make some sense? I can see the vision. It's not going to be Chet. The difficulty is for Chet, unfortunately, now look, they were probably never going to bring him back to NRG, but unfortunately for Chet, he's banned until the end of Bangkok. So if teams are trying to practice now, they need someone who can, you know, play for them and coach them now. Mike's HD is an option, used to be on 100T, and if they are going to get rid of Bonka, he could be an option. You know, rumour has it that they've not really got to the stage of having an agreement, but maybe discussions there are being had. The other big one, though, that I really wanted to get into is Leviathan, because they have been such an interesting and at times questionable organisation over the last couple of years. Of course, they had Aspas last year. He helped take them to a great result towards the end of the season, but at the start of the year, they were a bit of a mess. They had all the Nozwa drama back in December 2023, I guess it would have been. Aspas similarly wasn't very happy with the way that the organisation was handling things from a roster perspective and all that. Now, just yesterday, or I guess the day before now, but we talked about it yesterday, Itapata from LEV replied to Rossy, and Rossy kind of roasted his team and said, look, none of you guys shoot straight. Now, I imagine if what we're about to discuss is true, discussions between these two were already underway, but I find it funny to imagine that after this tweet, Itapata was like, you know what, he's right, my players aren't good enough, I'm going to hit him up. And because the rumours of yesterday is that Rossy has reached a verbal agreement to join LEV in place of Natank. Now, there's a couple of very interesting angles here. Rossy, back in the league, great as far as I'm concerned. Deserves a spot. Could it have been an NRG? Maybe. Would there have been personality clashes with the leadership over there? Possibly. You know, I'll say that that's not an impossibility for sure. But Rossy back in the league, I think excellent. Deserves an opportunity, I would say. LEV, though, again, their decision-making is proving questionable, and you know, we've talked about Cloud9. They've made some decisions over the last couple of years. They've been roasted hard by lots of the fans. I don't think LEV, in some respects, should be too far off. But obviously, they're not North American team, maybe slightly less notable, but still, it is a big deal. And I think for Natank, right, like, getting rid of him is, to me, pretty questionable, to be honest, right? Like, he's not been bad for them, I would say, at all. If you look at some of his performances, this is just his rating in the last 60 or so days when they've played games, and he's played fine mostly. He's actually been probably one of their better players, really. If you look at this couple of series that they lost here, so this was the one they lost to G2, of course, an expected defeat, and it wasn't absolutely crushing, but it was pretty comfortable, 13-5, 13-9, but they at least won some rounds. Like, it wasn't, you know, what we've just seen Nova versus Wolves. I'll just go back to that real quick to see if it's game over yet. Actually, no, it's fair enough. Okay, Wolves are making a bit of a comeback. Don't count it out just yet. You never know. I'll check it again at the end of the video. But yeah, if you look at this series, Natank was 32 in 21, like 31. Like Demon 1, you're not going to drop Demon 1, but Demon 1 was having a couple of stinkers. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, right? Natang played okay for those guys, but I guess there's a feeling maybe that he's the odd man out, and I understand that if they feel that way, to be fair, and of course they lost to MIBR, that was a pretty bad one, and Nakan had, he had an okay series here, Tex and Demon 1, and King's the leader, I guess, and, you know, Com's not been great. But, yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Someone, I guess, had to go if they were going to make a change, and it seems that they've decided to make a change, and Natang is the odd man out. So, it's just one of these interesting decisions from LEV to, you know, if you are going to make a move. But then again, if you're LEV, your result of the kickoff wasn't good, Rossy's available, you could go and get him, the team probably want him in. I wouldn't be surprised if Com and Demon 1 think that might be a pretty good idea, who knows. Obviously, King's kind of running the leadership role right now, I don't imagine Rossy will take that over. And then Natang, you know, French player, maybe there's a feeling that from a chemistry point of view it wasn't working as well as it could have done. So, yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section below, because it has caused a lot of controversy yesterday, but equally, is it a good idea? Probably yes, in my opinion. I think it's worth giving it a go. And I also think that stepping in and signing Rossy before somebody else gets the chance to is probably a wise idea as well. So intrigued to your thoughts in a comment. Just a couple of scrim bucks. 100T were playing M80. They were down 5-15. So maybe not ideal. And also just one final one. 2G, we think they're making changes. They, of course, won Ascension, but they were getting, you know, slams last night. Again, in scrims, it wasn't especially pretty. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in a comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.